Hello, my name is Alexander Morari, and I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. You've tuned in to our podcast about Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-series A stage. And our guest today is Juan Borras, the co-founder of Outvio. And Outvio is a white label SaaS fulfillment solution for medium-sized, but also large online retailers. Tere, Juan, or should I say hola, Juan?
You can say both, tere or hola, or
Yeah, you're based in Estonia, I understand, corporately,
yeah.
cooperation-wise. And are you fluent in Estonian already? It's like one of those languages brought to Earth by UFO that is very hard to conquer, basically, and to master. Are you able to
Yeah,
speak
it's
Estonian?
I manage more or less, but I'm far away from being fluent now.
One of
But
the
yeah,
few
it's
languages, on this planet I completed cannot even advance a bit. So look, so you say, I mean, we described you as a SaaS fulfillment solutions for burgeoning or growing rapidly online and e-commerce industries, right? That's interesting. I wanted to start with the story that I heard from a landlord or owner of a huge portfolio of logistics and warehousing properties in a conference in Munich in Germany, a real estate related conference. And so he said that his child once ordered something online and ran immediately to the door. And he's like, Sonny, what are you doing? I mean, I just clicked the order and I wanted to check at the door whether we have the delivery yet. Everybody laughed, but basically with the 15, with a couple of startups that are providing like 15-minute even delivery, definitely in California and some other locations, this is less and less science fiction and more reality. Would you say clients really need immediate, immediate 15-minute deliveries, or is it something that companies or retailers can educate the client and then make premium margins on this?
Well, I think it's like, yeah, we cannot go like to the extremes in a way, right? I mean, the same way that I think it's not acceptable in 2021 to wait maybe 2 weeks to get a delivery. I think to expect a delivery in 15 minutes, maybe it's the other end, right? I mean, probably most people will take 15 minutes to go down and get a bus to go to the shopping center, or even to get into their car and start exiting towards the supermarket or mall or shopping center to purchase whatever they need to purchase, right? But it's true that the new generations, right? Whatever it is, Z, W, X, or the TikTok generation, it's all about immediate reward, right? It's like you watch like a 20-second video, 30-second video, you're not bothered to watch like a 15-minute video, 1 hour documentary, right? You're more entertained just getting like these 30-second kind of shorts because it's like an immediate reward, right? And yeah, in that sense, I think that the world is going to that direction. These kids are maybe 10, 15, maybe younger adults, 20, they're going to be the ones driving e-commerce in 10, 20 years, right? They're going to, when they get a job and they have like income to spend, they're going to value those, they want to value service, right? At the end of the day, unless you don't have a very niche specific product, you're probably selling the same thing as another 1,000 or 10,000 retailers online, right? So how do you differentiate? Well, there's many ways to differentiate. One of them for sure being service and delivery speed and delivery convenience is definitely a big part of that service that you're offering, right?
And
So
smooth fulfillment, as well, and that's where your company is active, basically. And it's not it's not by chance that fulfillment can be used in different contexts. Not only fulfillment of an order, but also fulfillment of a dream, right? So you're actually working in dream fulfillment. And let's get back into the scenario mode then. And our first round is the solution itself. And I suggest we start with a couple of slides about the solution, and you will take us through those slides to make us visualize what they're working on, okay?
Yeah. Just to be clear, I mean, we are not so much into we are not a courier, or we don't really like touch the packages or the goods that are being shipped. We are a software that enables these online stores to streamline the whole operations from the moment that they get the payment from their payment provider all the way to delivery, return, and beyond that, right? So we have a number of tools. Obviously, like dozens of tools working together in unison, right? So yeah, just to be clear, so our viewers and
So you provide
listeners,
an interface, so to say, right? You provided an
not
interface
only no,
for
not so much
smooth
we provide an
fulfillment.
interface, of course, but we provide the infrastructure behind that interface, the API, whatever is beyond the API, all the processes that are needed to, from sorting your orders to picking, packing, shipping, tracking during the until the order is delivered, notifying and managing incidents with those orders, because these are one of the biggest pains that online stores have to endure, which is dealing with those orders that have some issue. The merchandise got lost or damaged or is delayed or is held in customs because the order is a wrong address. So our software really makes handling those issues so much easier. And then delivery, and then of course the post-delivery process, which mainly means like, I don't know, like asking the client for feedback, and of course like handling the potential return of those goods back to your warehouse, all the way to processing those goods that you just received, those return goods, into your warehouse. So we go through all the journey, like we take care of all the journey basically.
And actually
So,
providing a low code, no code kind of solution, right? I understand.
Yeah, correct. So there's actually even relatively big merchants that they use the solution as is, meaning they use the interface also to manage everything. Some bigger retailers, they connect through our API. That might imply like to write a little bit of code, but it's, let's say, what it would take you months to develop, you do it in one day, basically. That's the deal, basically.
Yeah, which is a definitely opportunity not only to save money but also be operational much quicker. So let's switch to a couple of slides you wanted to share with us. Okay, Juan, so take us through the what's that dashboard, I understand, for a retailer.
Yeah, so this is a way. Yeah, just so people understand, this is like what you see if you use the Outvio interface. Because we have lots of clients that use our interface or they just connect through our API. But of course, this helps to visualize what Outvio is actually doing in the back, right? So when you get into Outvio as an online store, you see like a snapshot of your, let's say, online operation. So you see all your orders in transit in a map, right? So you see there's like some 12 orders, something transit somewhere in Germany or France, and everywhere. You see how many orders are on time. This is actually, by the way, a real account from a real client. We're not going to say what client it is, but it's a real account. They're using this DPD and TNT, as you can see. And they tell you, like you give you even some statistics about your operations and so on, right? So it's quite interesting. So one of the things that we actually get most pride of is all these analytics that we provide, right? Not only about shipping, right? So they tell you, what is it, the shipping cost and the delivery time and so on, but we give you some sales analytics, so we can even tell you what is the repeat purchase rate from your clients, or how often your clients buy, like, so it's quite a lot of like interesting stuff that you get off the box. But yeah, basically what Outvio gives you is like a flow to manage your operations. So you start with the orders. So you can see this client has got quite a
Shopify,
a lot of orders that it just arrived like minutes ago, so they're still unprocessed. And then from here, you could select, the orders that you want to process, and then you could either start packing or even create your own picking list so that you can in an orderly manner pick those items from your warehouse. You can, of course, use barcode scanners to pick those products. And once you have actually picked your products, you would get into what is called like the shipping queue, what we call the shipping queue. And in the shipping queue, you will actually process those orders, also scanning the products. There's many ways, but of course, the most efficient way that Outvio provides is to use a barcode scanner to actually process those orders. So you will actually scan the orders, the items that go into the order, and Outvio will automatically print out the shipping label based on rules that you can actually set up in the app. So, I mean, these shipping rules, I have to say, they're quite complex, and they are like, industry leading in the sense of the flexibility and the power that they provide in terms of automation. And they're super, I don't know if this particular guy has any rules. So yeah, you see he has like quite a lot of rules set up, right? So for example, if it says that the method, shipping method is post office 2 kilos or more, then use this Omniva standard parcel like courier, right? For example, right? And you could even like, like drag and drop and, give them more preference or less preference to each rule, right? And then, of course, once you have shipped the orders, you have a panel where you can actually see all your orders that are in transit and what is their status, right? So, for example, you can see this one has been delivered to a pickup point, and I would be able to actually open the order, and then it tells you that it's been delivered on a pickup point. You can see all the tracking history here, and yeah, I mean it's like a one-stop shop for that. So this was delivered yesterday to a pickup point. Right, they say that it was actually some exception. So there was an exception at some point. So that's why it tells you like, okay, you can link directly to the courier website to solve that exception.
Yeah.
And yeah, once the order gets delivered, then it will disappear from this like tracking panel, right? And yeah, of course, the interesting stuff is that your client. I'm not sure if this should I prepare this a bit better. But let me see if, so you see like the client is called Racer Worldwide, no reason to hide anymore. And this is a tracking page that is like 100% configurable for your client. So you as an online store, instead of sending your clients to I don't know, in this case, DPD or TNT or whatever courier you're using, all the tracking happens in your own tracking page. Right. So actually, by the way, this was like, translating in Poland right now, this particular shipment. You can see the map, what is exactly, you can see all the tracking history. And then what's also, you can change the language actually, if you want, depending on the plan you're using, you can, have more language or less languages. We support like 10 or 12 languages in Europe. And, something quite interesting, you can have like a section for questions and answers. So basically, and this is 100%, editable, and it belongs to this online store. So for every client, this section will be different. And
just
this
to make
is quite
sure,
interesting.
Juan, just to make sure, in the search bar, so we have the address racerworldwide.outvio.com, meaning outvio.com is the platform, and Racer Worldwide is the retailer, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I have to say that you can also like personalize this URL. So in case of this client, it depends on the plan where he's at. But in our higher plans, you can actually personalize the URL. So the Outvio will kind of disappear, and it could be something like tracking.racerworldwide.com, right? So then it means that there's no Outvio there whatsoever. There will be no Outvio there whatsoever. In this case, the client hasn't personalized that, and that's why it shows Outvio in the URL. But you can make it like completely white label. That's what you were saying at the beginning. Of course. Clients that don't know they're using Outvio, right?
And this URL, for the tracking purposes, I can see as the purchaser, right, as the buyer from Racer Worldwide. So this is where I will.
Yeah, that's what the buyer will see. So of course, how the buyer gets to here, it's that in Outvio you can actually send or automatically send. There's actually, we have all this branding section, and you can actually automatically send emails in all these points during the delivery process. So you can see this this client has actually selected many different delivery processes, not delivery process, many points in the delivery process to trigger an email. And that email can also be personalized if you want. We have a powerful email editor that allows you to, in a drag and drop manner, edit those emails, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you can say an email when the order has been picked up by the courier, up for delivery, delayed, it's ready. If you deliver to a store, if you have a store that is ready for pickup, or you send it to a pickup point if it's ready in the pickup point, delivered, and you can even automate sending emails to your clients when there is a problem with that order. So in that case, your clients would be able to solve that issue by themselves without you having to waste time dealing with those issues. Let's say if the client has actually input a wrong address, the only way you're going to solve this is by contacting your customer and then asking them, okay, give me the right address. But Outvio helps you to automate that, and you would send an email automatically to your client, say, hey, it seems that the courier has told us that your address is incorrect. Please click here, and then you put a link to the courier's website where you can actually change the address by yourself, right? So these are like the small things, but they are super, super powerful. And when you have hundreds or even thousands of orders every day, you're going to have this type of incidents, right? And you don't have to worry about them, right? The Outvio kind of takes care of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, this we could be talking about Outvio for like a half an hour, but of course, you would also be able to manage all the returns. So you have any returns, they will show up in here. So I just randomly picked that client. I didn't know if they were had all returns or not, but you can see. So this return, for example, was done yesterday. And you see basically in real time whenever a client makes a return and why this return happens, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, in this case, you can see that, okay, they're returning this particular product. They selected the size does not fit, and the return is in transit, right? So you can see that the return, well, it was created yesterday, so probably it hasn't even been, well, it's pickup point to pickup point. So this particular client will need to go to a pickup point, drop the box, and then from that point onwards, the courier takes over, and then Outvio will show you as an online store what is that return. So even once the return arrives to your warehouse, you would scan the label from that courier, and then Outvio will show you this page right now that you can see here. With the difference that these buttons that are here grayed out, you cannot now do anything with it. They will become active, and then you can accept the products, reject the products, and Outvio will automatically calculate what is the money to be refunded to the client, right? So that kind of closes the whole loop. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot more functionality, but I think, like I said, we could stay here for 2 hours talking about everything you can do with Outvio.
Yes. Okay. Great. That will do for a introductory kind of overview. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Yes, and we are back. And Juan, tell me, as far as geography right now, what's the most popular selling geography right now? I mean, jurisdiction, Estonia, where you are based, or for now, it doesn't matter where the seller is?
I don't know if I get your question. You mean from what region or what country
For what
people buy
country,
the
yes.
most, or where do we have most of our clients, or what?
Most of your sellers, yes.
Okay. So most of our sellers are in Spain, of course, because that's where we launched the app 3 years ago.
Okay.
Or 3.5 years ago. MVP type of thing was in April 2018. In the spring 2018, actually. So that's where we have most of our clients. So in Estonia, we've been here for right now 1 year. So we're steadily growing here, and of course the plan now is to expand to other countries in Europe, in the same region and so on.
Specifically in Europe, just because of the euro currency area, or it doesn't matter?
No, because of the euro currency, but it's in terms of growth, we want to take things a bit step by step, right? So yeah, I mean, it makes sense, as a market that we slowly are getting to know, and it's still very big. There's still not so many players in this field, and then we are confident that we have a really great product. So yeah, we feel that we can easily expand in Europe.
Yeah. So what's the pricing model then, and how many paying customers you have now, currently, more or less?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to give you exact numbers about paying customers, but I can tell you that at the moment we are now kind of changing a bit our pricing model. But at the moment, we basically our pricing is composed of two components. One is a subscription. So you pay like 29.99 or 199 euros per month, and that gives you access to different levels of functionality in the app. Everything that I showed you in the previous demo is pretty much available from our basic 29 euro plan. So it's, as you can see, is already very powerful.
Indeed.
And then we charge a small fee per order that we processed in Outvio. So which is like 9 euro cents per order.
Which is a fixed fee, right?
Yeah, it's a fixed fee. It's like unlike payment platforms, which actually charge you like some 10 cents or 20 cents plus a percentage of the value of the order.
Yeah.
We just take like a small fixed fee of 9 cents per order processed. Yeah.
Interesting approach. Okay. And that's again a 9 cents, right? 9.
Yeah, 9 euro cents. So we think it works quite well because it scales with your business. So if you do, let's say, 2,000 orders a month, then there's like a certain level of infrastructure that we need to have in place to be able to process those 2,000. But if you're doing 200,000 orders a month, as you can 100 times more, then our application needs to scale up, and that costs us more money. So that model ensures that we're always going to be giving you the best service, so that our infrastructure is going to scale without any problems. And no matter if you're processing 2,000 orders a month or 200,000, the level of service and the user experience that you and your clients or customers are going to have as buyers is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, and it's easy for the and it's relatively easy, I would say, for the customers to also foresee the overheads for their business operations, right? So then they can plan.
I mean, like we said,
interesting.
On every sale, you know that your average sale is, I don't know, 100 euros. You know that 9 cents of those 100 euros will be for taking care of a lot of stuff, right? Because we can take care basically from anything that is post-purchase, right? From after post payment, basically. So after the payment, you can do a bunch of things for 9 cents with that order.
Yeah. Just to make sure, 9 cents per item purchased.
Not per item, per order. So you can.
Oh wow!
If
amazing.
an order has 100 items, you still pay 9 cents per order, right? So let's say for Outvio, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's true that orders with many items, maybe they might need several packages. You might maybe need like 5 or 6 or 10 packages to be able to ship them properly. We still take the same 9 cents, even though having to deal with 10 packages means that we need to get 10 shipping labels. It means that you need to do like 10 trackings in parallel to make sure that those packages are being delivered. And it adds up a level of complexity to the app, but still we still charge you the same 9 cents.
And so based on my limited, let's say, insight into this pricing for similar models, I think you have very generous, we could say, space for pricing maneuver in the future, because this is very fair approach, a fair play approach to your customers, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's still, like, of course, when you're talking with bigger clients, I don't know, you have like 200,000 orders a month, for example, right? Then it means that if you need to do 9 cents per order, right, that's 18,000 euros that you need to pay. But then I always say the same thing. How much are you paying in credit card fees to process those 200,000 orders? You're not paying like tens of thousands of euros. You're probably paying in the range of hundreds of thousands of euros just to, get payments, right? And this is just, it's a very key functionality of your online store. You need to get paid for sure. But what people don't realize is that in online business, let's say the order is not paid until it's delivered. If you don't deliver that order properly and on time, the client will either ask for a refund or will ask the money back, which means that you will need to basically you're not making the sale. The sale, you don't make the sale online when you get the money, when you get the payment, is when the order is delivered, right? So yeah, I mean, if you're doing 200,000 orders a month, surely you're paying maybe a couple million in payment processing fees. So those 18,000 you will pay to Outvio, this is like cents to the dollar, right? It's pennies to the dollar, basically.
Mm-hmm. So to sum up, as far as your income revenue channels, let's say, you have a subscription, then transaction fees, and as far as installation, or setup for the clients, this is all self-service.
Right no, we help them and we don't charge anything for it.
So your consultancy services are your investment into the future kind of relationship with the clients. Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that relationship that you start paying like 100 euros a month or 200 euros a month, but we see that. I would say I'm not going to say 100%, but 99% of our clients they stay and they continue for months. And we even have clients that have been with us for 2.5 years from almost the beginning, right? And you can see that integrating more and more services into Outvio, right? They're making Outvio part of their operations, right? And this is what we love and what we like. I have to say, Alex, I was thinking before that, to pay 18,000 euros a month for Outvio, that's an extreme case. The good thing is that if you have a smaller online store, let's say you're processing 2,000 orders a month, you get exactly the same level of functionality, the same level of performance, but then you will pay like 300-400 euros per month, right? And you're getting exactly the same type of power of that as that online store doing 100 times more orders than you, right? And
this is what I wanted to emphasize as well for the viewers and the potential clients or investors in the future and so on, that your platform is good not only for established corporations, let's say, active in retailers, but also like self-employed or hobby online retailers, right? As well, somebody who's doing this on the side after their like main jobs and so on. There are so many people on local platforms like, Allegro in Poland, for instance. And
or Etsy or even selling in eBay or maybe some small Amazon stores. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is interesting.
Definitely. I mean, what these people in the beginning don't realize, and they realize very fast after they start using Outvio, is that Outvio gives them a system. And when you compare with other, similar or, solutions that cover some of the, things that Outvio does, is that the key difference between Outvio and anything else, absolutely anything else in Europe and in the US, in China, whatever, is that Outvio creates a flow for your online store to operate. So of course, you're talking about the very big online stores that we work with. They already have a flow when they come to us, right? They just want to integrate at very specific points in their fulfillment and process, basically, and the flow. But then again, Outvio it covers the whole, the whole flow is there readily available. So when somebody that maybe is just growing fast and has a few hundreds of orders per month, and they come to Outvio, they initially want to come with a specific problems. I want to automate returns, or I want to centralize all the incidents with my shipments, or I want to connect with different couriers and print shipping labels. They come with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these things in mind. Then they realize that, okay, they start using Outvio, and then they start getting like a system. So then they start really realizing that to scale up and to grow, you need to automate and you need to systematize your operations, right? So we put a lot of effort from day one when we started even architecting Outvio, that it should be something that any small online store should be able to operate, but at the same time, allow them, and in a way, maybe even pushing them a bit to operate like a big online store. Because if you start operating like Amazon, when you have a few hundreds of orders per month, if you're successful and in 2 years you have a few thousands, and a few more years later you have a few tens of thousands, you wouldn't need to change a bit on your operations. You maybe need to hire more people to do the picking and packing and customer support, but the software, you will be able to use the same software. It's the same software, the same flows, the same everything, right?
Plus, you don't stay on the same spot. You also grow and develop your back end and front end.
Absolutely,
the new technologies coming into place. And I understand in a way that you will not be able to avoid like buzzwords like AI or big data, definitely, and so on. I mean, you have it already, basically, in a way, more of a machine learning probably, but GPT-3 and similar stuff will definitely help you open new dimensions. Juan, with this, let's close round 1 and start the next one, round 2 competitors. Which ones would you say are the ones you look up to, or you are happy to learn from, or you are happy to treat as great sparring partners? Who would you give a special mention as far as your competitors?
In what sense? I mean, if you look in the sense of product-wise, I mean, we don't look too much on what our competitors do, to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm glad that we monitor what they do and stuff, but we don't use them as a sense or of a source of inspiration of what we should be doing. I mean, I know that it might sound, I'm not gonna say arrogant, but when we actually compare ourselves with other similar solutions 1-to-1, we feel our product is like 1 or 1.5 years ahead, basically. And I think that the merit that our team has is that we build this in a very, very short period of time. I think one of the reasons is that a lot of these competitors, they were built as shipping label printing apps. So they were trying to solve the problem of, okay, I have an online store, I need to ship my goods, I need to connect with couriers and print shipping labels. And they do that, I would say, a lot of them, they do that pretty well. But when we created Outvio, we didn't see the main problem as being printing shipping labels or connecting with couriers. We saw the big problem of you as an online store being able to offer a great user experience to your buyers from end to end. So we wanted to allow initially any online store to operate like Amazon. And that's a much greater view. It's like, okay, printing shipping labels and connecting with couriers is one thing that you need to do. But there's a lot of things you need to do before that and a lot of things that you need to do after that. So of course, in the US, there's like players that have been in this space for like 10 years or something like that, like 7 to 10 years, like ShipStation, Shipping Easy, Go Shippo. And from what I've seen, they do a lot of things right. I mean, they have a solid, very solid customer base. They are, 10 times, 20, 50 times bigger than we are. I mean, a lot, maybe 100. But then when I look at the product, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things that they do right, but a lot of things where they have like shortages, right, that we don't have, right? Because their approach was, okay, let's solve the problem of printing shipping labels.
Yeah. So I guess your advantage might be the result of not being the first in the space, right? So first you know what to do, more or less, like direction, but then you are able to use what more sophisticated or modern or more to the point kind of solutions that your customers might need.
It was actually funny, Alex, because when we started, so I can give you like a very quick overview of how you started. I mean, it was actually my co-founder. She started her online store. And then, she connected like a payment platform and built the store in weeks, I believe. And everything was good until she started really getting more orders, right? More and more orders. And then, of course, in the beginning, you kind of like start printing and connecting the labels and so on. And then we start looking at solutions, to fix that problem, right? So, of course, we found a solution, some of which are now our competitors, actually. But we were looking into them and we saw like, this is not really, it's okay to print the labels, but what happens after printing the labels, the tracking, communicating with clients? What if my clients make a return? They didn't manage it at all or very poorly. And then I'm actually glad that we even didn't find some of the companies that we found later on that, are competing with us right now,
Okay.
right? Because maybe at that point we'd have said, okay, maybe this is good enough, right? So we just started, what we realized is that, okay, there might be something here. And then it happened that two of my high school friends had online stores. One of them actually has a really big online store in Spain. They do like, in the tens of thousands of orders a month. And I say, hey, David, let's meet. I want to see their warehouse. I want to see their operations, and I want to talk to them. And I asked, so how do you do this? How do you do that? What problems do you have? And then we had a few meetings, and then it was clear to me that they had exactly the same problems that Heidi, my co-founder, had in her modest online store, just like 100 times bigger. Exactly the same problems, problem dealing with couriers, problem solving incidents, problem communicating, problems with returns, exactly the same problems. They had actually tried to solve some of those problems internally at the expense of spending tens, probably hundreds of thousands of euros over the years, building in-house solutions, integrating relatively expensive solutions into their operations. And then he was saying like, look, you can build something like this. This is definitely like worth a lot, right? Because we have spent over the years a lot of money building like internally some of these tools that you're telling me about, and even some of the ones you're proposing, we don't even have, right? So at that point, we said, okay, maybe let's put this online store a bit on the side, or I kind of convinced her to maybe like let's do something with this, fulfillment, and that's how Outvio, started to be like taking shape, basically.
and which has grown today into something very scalable, right? I understand. And what would you say are the, like, let's say, the barriers to quick scalability of the project right now? What one or two things you think are biggest blockers?
In terms of scalability, I mean, of course, as a growing startup, we just raised our first like external funding. So until a couple of months ago, everything had been bootstrapped with our own resources, our own internal investments. So we didn't have any external investment. So now we're in the process of like scaling up fast. So is I think one of the things that we need is talent. We need like these really motivated, talented, smart people to join our team and execute our vision and be part of our vision, and then believe in it and execute it, right? So that could be one, like thing to overcome. Pretty sure in the next 3-4 months we're gonna like, we're hiring pretty much every week somebody is starting in Outvio. In terms of geographically speaking, I wouldn't see like a lot of barriers. Maybe we are at a slight maybe disadvantage because obviously only existing for like 3.5 years, whereas some of these competitors have been in business for over 10 years. So when we go into a new market, most likely there's already presence in there. There was presence in Spain when we actually launched, of course. But it's been 3 years, so those companies have got maybe 3 years to kind of gather more clients and establish a brand and establish their presence. And of course, we didn't have presence in those markets, and there's no brand awareness in those markets, right? So this is something that we definitely need to fix over the coming few months. Yeah.
So the competitive battle in bigger markets in Europe is still ahead of you, I understand, right? And you need good team in-house. Okay. Juan, with this, let's move on to round 3. And round 3 is usually a round of quick Q&A. Relatively simple questions that are sometimes difficult to answer right away. Anyways, let's start. What are your own productivity hacks for as a busy CEO? And what I mean, not the tools, but basically the ways of doing things and executing on your daily plan. So again, productivity hacks. Like, how do you manage your day?
To be honest, like I'm not the best in terms of hacking time. So I think I've got like quite efficient over the years, especially when you're like co-founder of a small startup and you need to scale up, you do, you end up doing everything. In terms of productivity hacks, I mean, like, I would just say stay focused to your vision, right? So, I mean, I get interrupted literally 100 times every day, people asking me questions, whatever. I always try to help, but in the back of my head is like, okay, I really need to get this done. And even if you need to stay until midnight, once the day, most people are gone in the office, 6-7 p.m. I go home, and then I might be for. So I think, to be honest, the productivity hack is just like work a lot. There's no other way to get things done. You need to have a mindset of there is no 9 to 5. So especially when you're growing fast, you need to be ready to. So it's not a hack, but it's just a fact, right? If you're not ready to work hard and work 12, 14-hour days, then definitely starting your own company and scaling a startup is not for you.
Interesting. So in a way, you are paraphrasing what Michael Jordan, I think, said, right? That I'm not the most effective guy. I'm just throwing maybe more than other players. And that gives me a chance to hit the basket. Interesting. And what about the tools then? What tools help your startup most?
I will tell you a few of the tools we use, but I would say that the best tool we have right now, and as I say, Alex, I'm going to go against the trend, is the fact that most of our team is working from the same physical location, from the same office. So I would say that to have people not having to rely on Zoom or Meet or any Skype or any like video conference software, but really having people physically 10 meters, 20 meters from you, and that you can go there, ask questions, get answers, and move on. I would say this is really like I find that this is really be productive, right? Because as you know, in the age of Zoom and Meet and so on, you spend the first 10 minutes setting up your audio. Now it costs. Now the internet connection goes slow, and it's like I hate that. Of course, we still like have people working remote every now and then, but I think it's really great to be able to get the whole team together, like often, in the office at the same time. Yeah, if you talk about other tools, of course, we use like probably what a lot of modern startups companies use. So we use all these Atlassian tools for like Jira and so on for development and project management. Um, yeah, I would say this is like we have our own internal chat that of course we use, and this obviously helps when people are remote and they need to be remote. Then of course this is important to have like a communication chat application that it's good for you. But yeah, pretty much that's it. I think I would say the most powerful tool is enthusiasm and be like really believing on what you're doing, right? And I think that everyone in the team it has it for sure. Otherwise, they wouldn't be working in Outvio.
So what's important, and as a sum up, the best productivity hack you say is like work your brass off, right? That's what you do for initial start of any initial phase of any startup, especially one that got proof of concept by getting seed investment, right, from interesting funds and so on. And also what's important, you are a believer of office-based cooperation rather than remote. That's interesting. And it shows your kind of business maturity. You don't feel that you have to go with the flow right now. And I told a couple of guests on podcasts as well that this hype for remote will subside and will go down, decrease with time. Well, people understand that there are other benefits and advantages of working in the same office, basically, that I cannot be traded for Zoom based convenience and saving on office space or similar. Interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say I could. Yeah, I
Juan,
would agree with
if
that mostly. Yeah.
interesting, and I completely agree with you. I also think that for a young company to create a team culture, like atmosphere of being one band or a gang, basically, you need to rub elbows in the kitchen, all those like small interactions and so on. Interesting. And by the way, so you mentioned also that you need enthusiasm and what, like passion for what you're doing and so on. How do you maintain this enthusiasm in the team? Do you have any like meetings where you have to pump them up somehow, or otherwise how to maintain from day to day the level of motivation, basically, to work hard?
Yeah, I think because we also play hard. So, when we are finishing
Okay.
our work day, we often go together for drinks. We order sushi at the office, and we all like have fun together, so
Okay.
that people realize that okay, this hard work, but we're also having fun together as well. But I would say that I think people really believe in what we're doing. They realize of the huge potential of what we're doing. They see that we are in the right market now, at the right place, at the right time, at the right market. So we're in e-commerce, which is like, yeah, it had been maybe a bit overlooked before the last 2 or 3 years. Even people started looking into this space maybe 1 or 2 years before the pandemic, into, let's say, post-sale B2B type of solutions. People were very much concentrating on selling platforms like Shopify and the like, or payment platforms, or financial kind of like applications to postpone payments or fraction payments, or fintech type of thing. And now they're realizing that okay, the next big problem and the next big thing is like, okay, let's see what to run an online operation, which is the future. What other tools you definitely need, and that solve like big pains and big problems that these players in this space have, right? And that's where Outvio fits, I think. So I think everyone, I mean, when we interview someone, for example, and we see that they are not really like dying to come and work for us, no matter how good we see that person might be, no matter how like prepared, no matter how good CV and experience they have, we don't offer them the job. It's as simple as that.
And
So
last
we
thing
want to
here,
see that there is like a thrill, because then it means that they're not getting it, right? they're not getting it, they're not ready for it, whatever reasons, right?
So with this, let's move on to round 4. This is a round about the company. You mentioned the company was founded somewhere 2018, right? And as far as the founders, it's you, Juan Borras, and Kaidi Tietzen.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And what about the team itself? How many people you are right now, and what's the division of labor there? Like what departments you have right now?
I believe now we're around 20, 21. Not sure, because like every week somebody is starting. So I guess by the end of September would be maybe around 23, 24. And the plan is to be in the range of 35, 40 by the end of the year. So, as we're growing, every kind of department inside Outvio and every kind of like, department, so to speak, is getting more, like having more weight in itself, right? So let's say a year ago, it was just like maybe we were, maybe 7 people a year ago. So, and then everybody was doing more of everything. I'm still doing a bit of everything, to be honest. I mean, like, which I shouldn't, but that's how it is still with 20 people company, trying to scale up at the European level and maybe later worldwide level, as a CEO and founder, you need to be ready to, put up your sleeves to do whatever it takes. But yeah, it's around, I don't know, 20, 21 people. Yeah. So we have a development team that takes maybe around 1/3 of that. And then we have sales, marketing, customer support. So we have like still like some of these departments, just a couple of people, but we're there.
Yeah, it's relatively easy to understand what you would do on the back end with the developers and coders. What about the front end and client-facing kind of situations, marketing and salespeople, especially sales? What's the sales process that your sales team have? They are all based in Estonia right now, or Estonia, Spain, and some other markets locally as well? And what do they do?
They're all based here.
Yeah.
They're all based here, yeah.
What's the sales process in a way? Like who are you targeting?
So yeah, the sales process, we have like 2 sales pipeline, what we call the inbound sales, which is actually composed of leads that they actually sign up into our application because of they find us somewhere, somebody recommends Outvio, and then they come in, and then we just phone them up and to see what they need, and try to convert them, and answer any questions, doubts they might have. And then of course we have the outbound sales, which actually reach out to, not to everyone, because we have like a quite, we don't like to mass email or mass call people. We try to make a selection. So when we call someone, we try to make sure that there is a very high chance that that particular potential client will convert into an actual client, right? Like this, we don't waste anyone's time, right? So so this is working quite good so far. We try like this kind of marketing automation tools, and we kind of steer away from that completely, right? We want this more in the sense of outbound sales. We like to do a bit more like I'm not going to say boutique, but we do a bit of a screening before we contact anyone.
Yeah. So you're doing your own due diligence, so to say, on the potential clients, and what you're looking for is what? Sustainability or scale right away, or sustainable business on their side, right? Somebody who has track record, who shows this is not a gig on the side that will close down in a bit or so. So you see the track record, couple of years, and this is established. They have all the processes. And have you been able to seduce people from other platforms to your platform right now?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, okay.
They actually come to us. They come to us. They come to us. So they come to us. We don't really are fans of like kind of stealing from competition. Maybe it has happened a few times, that you find someone you don't know that they're using the competitor, but then you phone them up and they say, yeah, we're using this other platform, and okay, maybe you want to try us. We have this and that they don't have. Okay, let me see. But more often than not, is they come to us. So somehow they feel that this other platform is lacking several things, so they start looking to try to complement those things that are lacking, and then they find us, and then they realize, oh, I get what I have right now plus a lot more stuff. So it's like a no-brainer. And believe it or not, they come knowing that we tend to be a bit more expensive than our competition, right? So
okay. And this is
yeah,
probably
when I mean a bit more
compensated.
expensive, it's like 10% or 15% more, right? But
Okay. Okay. Look, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, my intuition says that probably your app has somewhat better UX UI kind of
we would say that's
setup.
one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons, definitely. We're putting a lot of stress from the beginning, and that was merit of Kaidi, my co-founder, that she was the one designing the app from
Mm.
scratch, and I think she did an amazing job. And then when we compare one to one to anything, I mean, our UI, I mean, again, I wouldn't like to be arrogant, but I mean, it's definitely a lot better than anything else out there. But I think it's not so much the UX, but it's also the functionality, right? We just offer things that nobody else does. So it's as simple as that, right?
Plus, it's easy to navigate, and all the dashboards that I mentioned, I
Oh yeah,
managed to
yeah, it's
follow.
very easy to use. Exactly. So that's the point. You are a very big online store with people that are very prepared, that are used to use software. Of course, they're going to feel at home. But if you're like a medium size, maybe on the smallish side, kind of two-man operation type of company, you know, it's very easy to navigate. You understand we give you a flow, which our competitors don't do that, and then like they feel, oh, okay, you know, this app really helps managing my online store, right? It's not just printing labels and having some centralized point to track orders, but I get a lot. I get a lot. I basically, we have actually even some relatively big online stores in Spain that they were in the process when they connected to us. They were in the process of digitalizing their operations. So they were shops that they were physical. They had like physical stores, maybe 50, 60 physical stores in Spain, but their online operations were a bit like left like a bit like on the side. So they took advantage of integrating Outvio to really scale up, and they built all their online operations around Outvio. So that says it all, right? So, and they are relatively known. At least one of them is quite known in Spain. It's like a clothing brand, quite known, and
Which
basically,
one?
if we would unplug Outvio, which one? The,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shop?
Yeah. Which one in
I
Spain?
it's called no, it's not like one of the very big, because I'm saying they have 50, 60 shops in Spain, not like 100. It's called Maxon.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, we have very good relationship with them. They've been using Navi for like a couple of years now.
To cap it up here in this round, I also like an idea had in my was in my mind that you are actually helping those small retailers. You are helping them with the e-commerce related kind of educational curve. Very often they're not aware what's going on in their business unless you give them those dashboards that you showed, and those like new business e-commerce business related notions and parameters and KPIs and all of that. That's my hunch basically, that you're allowing them to be more, should I say, like expert and more sophisticated retailers than they would do if they would do this like manually or on some other combination of a couple of different tools. And that's interesting as well. There's educational element to this as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I have to say,
I
Alex,
want to say.
not only. I mean, you will be surprised. Some of these bigger clients that we have, uh, they didn't have access to a lot of the data they get from Outvio before. So, for example, in terms of managing returns, they don't only use our platform to manage those returns, but they get a lot of business intelligence in, okay, why people are returning, when are they returning, what products are they returning. So depending how this big online store was managing returns before, they were getting no information. You would be surprised, still a lot of online stores, to make a return, you need to go online, fill in a form, and then just, maybe put a label on top, and that's it, right? First of all, you don't get real-time data on your returns, and you're not going to get, at least in a digitalized form, what's happening with your returns. So with Outvio, because everything happens in the cloud, your clients do the return like if you would be Amazon. You get real-time data on reasons for return, products that are most returned, what clients returning the most, a lot of bunch of data that we put in nice graphics that you can download, and that is really, really helpful to understand, okay, how can I lower my returns? It's maybe a product that is being returned all the time,
Yeah.
right? In Germany, why in Germany people are returning this product, right? So before using Outvio, they didn't have this level of intelligence, right? And now they can say, oh, they're in Germany because apparently, I don't know, the size in Germany for this particular product, you need to recommend one size more. Or in Germany, this product doesn't fit the culture, it doesn't fit the the people there, right? So they feel it's not good for them. So yeah, it's something that not only small online stores, you'd be surprised, bigger ones, they get a lot of value from that.
And so all of a sudden, what you provide is not only the operational side, but also analytical side, and like
Yeah.
in a way, financial controlling tool, and you could say what actionable business intelligence kind of business intelligence insights, not available in other platforms. Okay. Juan, amazing. Let's move on to round 5. And this is round 5. We call this Formula 3 or F3, funding for the future. And before
Okay.
discussing the future funding, let's congratulate you with the successful seed round with the total investment of $3 million, I understand, right?
Yeah.
And that's a seed closed recently at the end of July 2021, right? With the group of great VCs led by Change Ventures, but also TMT Investments from London, Fresco Capital from San Francisco, and Lemonade Stand Talent. But also a couple of angels joined
Yeah.
this group of
That's
investors.
right.
And before that, you mentioned you had been completely bootstrapped. Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say are your most critical post-funding milestones to make your investors happy in the year to come or so?
Well, I think we need to grow. Definitely. So, I mean, the milestones, I mean, to be honest, I mean, the last couple of months has been a bit like transition period. So with this new investment, we were already growing, but in a very like a steady, you would say, bootstrap way, which means typically slow or slower than if you have like, $3 million sitting on your bank account.
Small
So
rocket
we're
fuel,
trying,
yeah.
yeah. So we've been like, now we have the fuel. So what we say is like, okay, we have the fuel, we have this really great airplane, but I think we can actually put like some bigger engines now and maybe, change a bit the aerodynamics, put some winglets, so that we can,
Okay.
before we start flying, let's like, we're in the process of like rearranging things a little bit. And now after the summer, we're kind of like getting more in shape. We made like a few really good hires that I think they can really make good contributions to the company. And yeah, so this is more or less being achieved. So the next milestones is, use that to start growing faster.
Can you share your first impressions of working with such, VCs and investors, angel investors on your cap table, compared to how you worked before investors being on board? I mean, is there any difference in this transition period, as you say? What I mean, you had an idea. It's up to you and your partner basically to decide on it,
Yeah, yeah.
like in favor or against. And do you feel any differences in this respect, like your autonomy, your what, or maybe otherwise? Maybe you have like additional people to rely on, their expertise and market knowledge and so on. Like how
Yeah, I would say it's still
would you
still
describe
too
it?
early to say. I mean, so far, I think we're very extremely pleased with the investors we have on board. So far, they're giving us a lot of freedom to keep on executing our plan, and they're already giving some good advice, some good contacts, especially. I think the most important thing that we're getting, I think, from these people, of course, the money is one, but second is the contacts, right? You are sometimes like one call away from, you know, very powerful or like contact that can really help and boost your business, right? So I think this is gonna be it's gonna make a big difference in the long run, right? When you have these people backing you up, they have a vested interest into your business, and they will like pull their contact network, the network contacts to help you out, right? So now you're not on your own. You don't need to be like pinging people in LinkedIn, hoping
Yeah.
that they're gonna like, you're just one connection away from someone that can really fix something or really boost your operations.
Or should I say one warm connection from somebody who might help your business? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Look, what about the next round? Do you have any plans right now as for the next round? When and at what stage?
I think, it's definitely too early to say,
Yeah.
like, after just a couple of months having closed our first round. Um, we are not really thinking. I mean, we're thinking, okay, let's grow. I have exactly the same philosophy. We knew that we wanted to raise money already for way before we started looking into investment, this spring. But we said, look, let's wait, because I think we can grow in a bootstrap manner higher. We can grow bigger, so that we can actually do like a bigger run of investment, so that we can actually do bigger stuff. So we
Okay.
could have actually raised money a year ago, but of course it wouldn't have been 3 million. It would have been less for sure, at a worse valuation possibly, right? In fact, I mean, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we won a prize of the best early stage Estonian startup. So we had been really in business for less than a year, basically,
Okay. Okay.
and that came with an investment of 250k euro that we ended up refusing, because we felt that the conditions, they were not right, and then we were looking at,
Wow.
how the future looked. And of course, this was way before COVID or anything like that, right? And we said, no, I think we can, for this level of investment, 250k, we cannot compromise so much. So we actually declined it, right? We refuse it,
What was the
and
what was the equity? What was the equity on the table? I mean, what the equity was on the table? Can you share that? Like 250,000 euros, I understand.
yeah, it was not that. I mean, it was something around 10%.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess the valuation was something around, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
2.5 million, or 2 point something like that, 2.5 million pre-money or post-money. I can't remember, but it was in the range of 10%. So it was not like a big chunk, but of course, 250k for
Okay.
10%. You know, when you compare now, yeah, it's like it was definitely a good decision. Definitely a good decision. So I mean, I would say that if you really believe in your product, and you are lucky like us, that we had a bit of money saved, so we could actually kind of keep on bootstrapping, because in the beginning, of course, we were just churning money every month. Then I would advise just to go on your own until you have reached a certain like mass of business and revenue and so on, and then you can go for much higher like valuations, for much higher investment, and then do bigger things right away.
When you are a natural partner to potential like seed investors or or Series A investors, rather than somebody who's begging for money, right? In a way, and you are
Yeah. To,
self-confident.
to me,
Okay.
it was also like at some point. So pretty much from the last year and a half, we were profitable. So we were talking to investors, and they were so how much your burn rate? And it was like, well, it's minus whatever, right? What do you mean? You're not? No, it's like we're making money, right? But I mean, the reason we are, because it happens that I don't know the percentage, but often startups start looking for investment when they see that they're running out of money, right? I think that's a bad time to look for investment, because then if you end up raising money, it's going to be at unfavorable valuation, because you will be pushed to accept whatever you want the company to survive. So I think
Yeah. Okay.
we were maybe lucky that we started looking for money, and it's not that we needed the money to stop the bleeding. It was just we wanted the money to grow faster and do bigger things, right?
Cool.
And I think investors saw
Interesting.
that right away, right? So,
Interesting. Juan, with this, I mean, on this note, we can definitely finish this podcast. Thanks a lot for your
great.
time and sharing more details about the company. Guys, this is, I think, the first company that I hear of that had refused
Really.
money after winning a competition, basically, at a very early stage. That's how you believe in your company and your product. Good luck. Thanks for the time, and I hope we'll be in touch following your successes, Juan.
Absolutely. I hope so too. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye bye.